No, Moses and Aaron.
Oh.
Aaron's his brother. So, let my people go. So Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said,
He's a ducky.
yeah, he's the Pharaoh.
Oh, Mama.
Who's it?
The God of Israel says that you should let his people go. But
No, go to
Pharaoh
Mama.
didn't believe in God
Go to Mama.
and became very angry. As punishment, he made Moses' people work harder than ever. Give the Israelites,
I can do it.
give the people, the Israelite slaves, no
Yes, you
more
can do
straw to make their bricks,
Yes, you
he
can do
ordered.
it.
Let them find their own, but they must make just as many bricks as before.
Ate Abit is at Mama.
Moses went to tell
Go
God,
ahead.
I will force Pharaoh.
it.
I will
Those
force
now.
Pharaoh to let my people go, said God. Go and tell him that if he refuses again, dreadful things will happen. Bad things.
Yes, like this.
Moses and Aaron returned to Pharaoh, determined to make him free the Israelites. To show Pharaoh that they had been sent by God, Aaron threw his walking stick on the ground. Miraculously, it turned into a snake. But Pharaoh's magicians could do the same, and Pharaoh was not convinced. He refused to listen to Moses. So God turned the waters of the river Nile into blood.
Blood.
Yeah. Then frogs swamped the entire country. This was followed by swarms of gnats and flies meanwhile. Only Goshen, the place where the Israelites lived, remained free of these things. They didn't have any of that. But still, Pharaoh would not let the Israelites leave Egypt. Look at all the flies.
Rock.
Oh, careful, Kathleen. I almost ripped it.
And the rock's dead.
Yeah, okay. That's not rocks. That's hail.
What?
It's like hard snow. Hard snow, yeah. Hard.
Snow.
Gahit snow, yeah. So one by one, the Egyptian animals began to die, all except the ones in Goshen, where the nice people were, the Israelites.
This
You-
one dead?
No, they're getting sick. Even when the Egyptians became covered in boils, like Carmelo, Pharaoh would not believe in God or set the Israelites free. Then God sent hail. It hailed like no one had ever seen before. Thundering hail that beat down the crops and killed all of the remaining cattle. Oh, they died from the hail. Plagues of locusts followed, meaning like, cricket or grasshopper. Plagues of grasshoppers followed. Great when grasshoppers eat the plants, so if you have too many, they eat all your plants. Plagues of locusts followed, great humming swarms that ate every last green shoot, every plant. Even the tiniest new leaf, it was gone. At last, complete and total darkness covered the land and remained that way for 3 whole days. Pharaoh tried reasoning with Moses, but Moses insisted that all of the Israelites, men, women, children, and cattle, were freed.
Excuse me, Dad. God was watching them,
Yes, and Moses was speaking for God, because God told him to go free the people. But Pharaoh refused. Then late one night, God killed the eldest son of every Egyptian family, including Pharaoh's own son.
And they ate them up.
That's pretty messed up. The Israelite families remained safe. God had told each family to kill a lamb or a goat.
This is blood,
No, it's just paint.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
God, Tita said.
Is it? Hold on, let me read what I'll tell you. Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right, Kathleen. Here we go. God had told each family to kill a lamb or a goat and to splash a little of its blood on the door to their homes. Then they were to roast the meat and eat it with bread made without yeast.
God was calling them the bad guys to kill the king,
Yeah.
and that's why they put eggs so they
know who's
So don't.
safe. That's the X means like, oh, these people are safe, because he's putting it on his house. This is the door, his front door to his house, and he's putting the blood there, so everyone can see that. You know, the goat that they ate. You know, they put the blood there.
This is the goat and the cow.
Yeah, this is all the food. The blood was a sign. The blood right there was a sign that Israelites lived in that house, and so the angel of death passed over any house marked in this way. So the angel of death, the grim reaper, would not touch them. God said that the Israelites should always celebrate that day as a special festival. Every year afterwards they ate a Passover meal to remember how God had saved them. Pharaoh had finally had enough. He sent for Moses and Aaron and said, "Take your people and leave at once." The Egyptians gave the Israelites gold and silver to try to hurry them on their way.
And the
But-
king did not planning.
Wait, don't get ahead of me. But after Moses and his people had left, Pharaoh changed his mind and sent his soldiers after them. They caught up with the Israelites at the Red Sea.
See?
Moses stretched out his arm. Yeah, you know the story. Moses stretched out his arm, and God sent a wind to blow back the water.
Nah. And they go there, and the bad guys follow them.
Yeah, they're running after them. They're running to get free, but here's the army, bad guys. The Israelites hurried across the pathway. They're running and dry land. When the Egyptian soldiers followed, the water rushed over them and killed everyone.
Yes.
Moses' people were free.
Ah.
That night, the Israelites celebrated with music and songs.
Ooh.
The end.
Aw.
Alright, last one. God looked after his people. It didn't take long for the Israelites to start grumbling. They complained that they had very little to eat. They remembered all the fish and wonderful vegetables they had had in Egypt. They forgot about their cruel masters and turned on Moses and Aaron. "We would rather have died in Egypt than starve to death in the desert," they moaned. God heard their complaints. "You will have meat to eat each night and bread every day except on Sabbath, my day of rest," God promised. And that night, a huge flock of birds called quail flew down and landed where the Israelites were camped. Now, there was plenty of meat for everyone, so they could eat the birds. Next morning, the ground all around the camp was covered with water. As the water dried, something white and flaky, as delicate as frost, was left behind. So there was a little bit of water. "This is special food that God has sent for you," said Moses. Gather as much as you need."
What's that, Daddy?
Yeah, I don't know.
Papa.
They're picking it up. The Israelites collected it quickly. It tasted just like honey. Oh, it was honey. It appeared each morning, honeydew. Oh. And every sixth day, they collected twice as much as usual to last them through the Sabbath, or God's day of rest. They called the food manna. Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard. But Moses' problems did not end there. The hot sun beat down on the desert. The people's throats grew dry, and they became thirstier and thirstier. There was very little water, so the grumbling began all over again. They started moaning. Moses turned to God for help. "Go ahead of the people," said God, "and when you reach a rock at the mountain, strike it with your stick." Moses did as he was told by God. Lots of water came gushing and gurgling